Welcome to the In-Tune Guitar Academy. This is lesson number 6. In this lesson we're going to review the notes that we've learned so far, and then we're going to go on and learn some more notes, and we're going to try to attempt our first chord. The chord that we're going to attempt is called the D chord. As always, before we start the lesson, we've got to make sure our guitar is in tune. So referring back to the previous lesson when I talked about tuning the guitar, we have to go through each string, and my preferred method, as I mentioned before, is using the clip-on tuner. This is a Snark super tight clip-on tuner for guitar or for other instruments. So we start with the first string, and we want to make sure that we get that blue-green arrow pointing straight up. Now we know that we're in tune on the E string. Then you go back to the next one, the B string, right here, and you can see that it's in tune. And then G, same thing. I tuned this before I started the video, but the concept is the same. Anytime we start playing, we want to make sure that we're in tune. And the D, same thing. We got the arrow pointing straight up, the little blue-green arrow pointing straight up. And then our A string, that one's in tune. And then low E. And as I mentioned before, some people do it the opposite way around. I always prefer to start from the bottom and work my way up. But as always, once you've done one way up or down, whichever you prefer to use, always go back over a second time, because sometimes the top string, which is the 6th string, can pull the other ones out of tune. Depending on the weather, sometimes when it's a little dry, your guitar can warp a bit and it can pull everything out of tune. So it's always a good idea to go through a second time, and then once you know your chords, you can arpeggiate a chord to make sure that it's in tune. So in this case, if you knew how to do an E major, this is what I always do when I tune my guitar. So I use the E major chord. So I just make sure that it sounds in tune, not only using the electronic method, but I also like to hear that it's in tune as well. Let's review. Remember, the string names that we have are starting from the bottom. We have the first string, which is an E. Then the next string is a B, the second string. And then the third string is our G. And the next string above there is the 4th string, is called the D. So we're just going to worry about those first 4 strings, the E, B, G, and D. So on the first string, remember we had the open E, then F, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, F, E. Then on the next string we had the open B, so B, C, and D. So those are the three notes that we learned on the second string. So it was open B, C, and D. So now for today's lesson, we're going to be concerning ourselves with learning the G and A notes. So if we have the third string is called the G string. So if you remember, it starts from the bottom, 1, 2, 3. The third string is a G string, G. So the open G sounds like that. That's a G, same thing as this. So those two are the same notes. They are called a G. So the open G, third string, then you press down using your middle finger, this one right here. I'm not going to point it out. So that's the A note. So it's 2nd fret, 1, 2, 2nd fret, 3rd string. It's called an A. And then the string above that is called the D strings. So D, same as this note here. Those two are called D notes. So now we're going to try to play a D chord. So the D chord starts off like with the open D, and the next note is the A, but instead of playing with your middle finger, I want to use your index finger. And remember, we're using our fingertips. The golf ball analogy, pretend like you're holding a golf ball in your hand. So you take your index finger, it goes 3rd string, 2nd fret, which is the A note. So you play the two notes together, open D and the A. Sounds just like that. That's a nice melodic sound. But then we're going to take our middle finger and put that on the 1st string. So we're skipping a string. So it's the 1st string using your middle finger on the F sharp note that we just reviewed a couple minutes ago. So middle finger, 2nd fret, 1st string. That makes the F sharp note. And then you take your index finger, not the next string up, but the string after that, so on the 3rd string, and then you go, so you're going. Now we're going to add in another note, which is the D note, but played on the 2nd string, or on the B string. So this one is actually on the 3rd fret, and using our ring finger. So remember, it's index, middle finger, ring, and pinky. So we're using the ring finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and then so we have to try to play all of those 4 notes together. So the open D, the A, the D, and the F sharp together. So you play them like so. So the challenging thing I know for beginning guitarists is always to try to make a sound and try to form that note, that chord. So a chord is made up of several notes. In this case, we have 4 notes that make up the D major chord. This is called the D major. The D major can be played here. It can also be played as a bar chord, or played as a bar chord up here. All 3 places are all the same chord, a D major. But we're just going to concern ourselves with the open chord, or a lot of people call them cowboy chords, but it's this one right here, the D chord. And then you can do many things. Once you've learned the D chord, you can do so many things. You can arpeggiate it, which means play each string individually. So I've added in, just by adding my pinky, which makes a G. So that's a D sus4, and then you can do so many things with just a D chord, and same thing up here. So I don't want to confuse you, so we're just going to worry about the D chord. And then you can also play D chord using an electric guitar, and you'd be amazed at how many different sounds you can get out of just that one D chord. So this is what it sounds like using an electric guitar. See if you turn it up a bit. The same chord. I can choose between 5 different settings on my guitar, my electric guitar. It sounds kind of dry. You play with the tone and the reverb. That's still the same chord, same D chord as before. Now we add in some distortion, and then believe it or not, that's still the same chord. That's a D, and that's a D. You can even make it sound melodic and heavy at the same time.